Welcome back to the devlog series on my dice deck building roguelike game being made for the Playdate. It's been a little bit since my last update, but that doesn't mean I haven't been working on things. If you remember from my last video, I mentioned the possibility of getting a demo out of the first area, and I'm happy to report that if you stick around to the end of this video, you get all the details on how to play, as well as an extra opportunity I'll mention later. There was still a ton to get through for this demo, so I'll hit you with the rapid fire. I added 40 new dice, 5 new enemies, a first boss and boss intro sequence, additional shop interactions, a helpful in-game guide, main menu screen, game over screen, new event map location, an entirely new relic system, a bunch of random polishing touches, a save system, all on top of a ton of bug fixes, balancing changes, and code refactoring. That's gonna be a lot to cover, so let's just get right into it. First off, let's start with all the new dice that got added. I went through and came up with a couple of different, what I like to call synergy pools, that have a specific type of game plan where all the dice in that group work really well together. I then went and distributed those dice across 5 different tiers so that I can control at what point in the run you're going to start to see each one pop up, as well as giving each tier a different price in the shop. When it comes to enemies, there's currently only one, so I came up with 5 others to fill out the first area. Since I wanted to prototype out some of these enemies first, before I made them final, I just used some existing art that you may recognize. These will obviously get changed in the future, but they do the job for now. With all these new dice and enemies in the game, they bring along the addition of a lot of new abilities and status effects, each with their own custom icon. I wanted to create some sort of manual that the player could always refer to if they ever forgot what a specific icon did. Lucky for me, the developers of Sparrow Solitaire made their dynamic menu system open source. So after a little bit, I was able to hack up their code and turn it into a nice and easy way to display all the different battle info for the player, which they can access in the menu at any time. I still wanted to get in a new type of map location, so the last one I was really missing was an event area. If you go to one of these locations, you'll have a small chance to encounter a chest, shop, or even a battle, but most of the time you'll enter one of these new events. These can range from finding a hidden temple and increasing your max health, saving a forced deity to upgrade a random dice in your pool, or just betting on a friendly game of cards between 2 lizards, just to name a few. Thanks to another great open source project from some devs in the community, I was able to plug in a ready-to-use dialogue system as a way to handle the event text, so that was a huge help. The last major thing needed to complete the first area was to get a boss implemented. So meet the Slime King, again, final art pending, who will be one of the boss options of the first area. I also created a nice little boss intro animation to give a bit more gravity and flair to each boss battle. With that done, while that does mean you can play through the game entirely, there's actually no way to save a run if you stopped in the middle, and not even a main menu to continue or choose to start a new run. So I whipped together a bare bones menu for the game along with a save system for the runs. Not only that, but I copied the tips menu from my old game Reflector and updated it with some relevant info and threw that into the main menu. At this point, the game was finally fully playable after about 7 months of work, and it definitely was extremely nerve-wracking thinking about playing it. I know in game dev, it's all about making minimal prototypes and iterating on that at the beginning to make sure that the gameplay is really fun and set before you do too much other work. But I didn't really have the luxury of doing that since there are so many systems that I needed to really get a feel for the game. Again, at this point, after 7 months of work, I can finally say that after playing through the game, it's pretty meh. It's not bad at all, but it's really not that exciting, and that was a bit depressing for a little bit. I stuck with it though, and after playing it a bit more, I came up with 3 key things that I think are holding the game back in a major way. Number 1. It needs some sort of relic system in order to vary the runs even more. 2. The frequency that the player gets new dice is way too low. And 3. The shop needs some extra actions and things to buy. The first item was the most important, and it's already something that a lot of other deck builders have in some way or another. When you start a run, you'll be able to choose from one of 3 randomly chosen relics. The effects of these can vary a ton, and they'll help push synergies and even sometimes create entirely new ones. Along with the one you get at the start of the run, you get to choose a new one after you complete the 3rd mandatory battle in an area, as well as an extra one after you beat the boss. Right now there's about 10 different relics in place, but more will definitely be coming in the future. In the original build, the player was only getting dice from shops and chests, which really just wasn't often enough. I decided to reward the player with a new dice option after every mandatory battle, minus the third one where they're now getting the relic. Last on the hit list was fixing up the shop, and now that the player is getting a lot more dice, that added the perfect opportunity to add a shop option to remove the dice. Now it seems a bit counterintuitive, but as you go along the run and get better and better dice, you want to dump off those old dice that either don't fit your synergy currently or are just kind of weak compared to what you're getting now. Doing that can help the player cut out a lot of randomness and give the player a lot of agency in crafting a dice pool that they want to use in the run. Now with all these changes in, it was time to test again. And I'm so excited to say, I really enjoyed the game and just found myself playing it for fun without even thinking about testing it a lot. That being said, plenty of testing was done and I had a laundry list of bugs, balancing changes, and quality of life improvements to fix and implement. So now we're finally caught up to today and the demo is currently available for anyone to play. But I didn't want to have a demo released without a proper name. So now introducing Ribbit Rogue. I'm super pumped for people to give it a try, but really nervous also. If you're interested in getting your hands on the demo, there's a link in the description to a Discord server that will have the game as well as a feedback form. This server will be a place where I'm hoping to give more frequent and smaller updates as the game continues through its development. Not only that, but it's a place to learn about and maybe be the first to test and play some of my other projects in the future. Just a reminder about it though, this is a demo, so there's a lot missing and I know that. There's not even sound effects or music at all. Now for the extra opportunity I mentioned before. If you're an artist or know one, this is for you. When it comes to game dev, I know it can be really enticing trying to have this idea of doing everything for yourself and completing a game all on your own. Sometimes though, you really have to understand your own limitations, and for me that's art. I feel really confident about this game, and know that I'm struggling a lot with the enemy art, hence all the placeholders. So I'm gonna put my pride and programmer art aside and look to hire someone to help with that. All the details for what I'm looking for are in the Discord, so if you're an artist, again, please go check that out and see if you'd be interested in this opportunity. The past month or two, I've been really working hard on this project and super excited to see where it goes. So check out the Discord and demo if you're interested and stay tuned for the next update.